Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another makeup through the decades video. Now if you haven't already guessed from the title of this video, the hair might be a bit of a big giveaway as to what decade I'm doing in this video, and this is the 1980s. I've already done the 50s, 60s and 70s, so if you haven't watched those I will leave a link in the description box below. But it's time to get a little bit wild, a little bit crazy with the makeup. We're going to go big, bright, bold, loads of colour, and I think just going to get straight to it. Alright, I've zoomed you in there. I have misplaced my headband that I usually wear in my videos, my black one with pearls. I don't know where it is. It's in my room somewhere because I had it about 10 minutes ago, but I can't find it. So I have just loosely pinned up the curl with a hair grip. But first things first, let's get started with a primer, and I'm going to use my Trinny, BFF Cream in the shade Light. And because the eyes are quite bold and quite bright in the 80s, I'm going to do my eyes first because I don't want to get any transfer onto my base. So I'm going to start things off with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. Then just setting this with a bit of my MAC blank type just to create a bit of a blank canvas all over the lid. A white shadow or a white jumbo stick like the NYX one would be a really good base for this as well. You just want something that's going to make the colours pop that bit more on top. And I'm going to use the same palette I used in my 70s video, which is the Revolution We Are Pride. We Are Pride? No, We Are Love. I call it Pride. The We Are Love palette, because this is just full of bright colours, which is perfect for an 80s look. So I'm going to start off with Amore, this pink one here in the crease. Just going to wing it out a little bit as well. So the 80s was all about colour. With eyeshadow it was bright colours like blues, purples, pinks, and even wearing them all together was quite a common look, so that is what I'm going to do. With this look I'm going to do pink through the crease and then greeny blue and purple on the lid. The real smoky, I guess, raccoon look was in the 80s. Lots of liner, lots of black on the eyes, smudging it out, trying to make it look that you had, I guess, slept in it for a bit. It was quite messy, quite rock chic. So if you think of like Debbie Harry, Madonna, they quite often wore makeup like that. Same palette, gonna take Carlec. If I'm pronouncing these words for love wrong, please let me know. And just using a small brush because I really want to get that quite neatly into the corner of my eye here. Just taking that up into the crease. And just taking it just over halfway across the eyelid. I'm going to use the same brush and just flip it over, and I'm going to take, I don't know how to pronounce this one, this pebble here, which I think is called Rackhouse, I don't know. And I'm going to put that one on the outer part of my eye. And I'm going to try and make that wing up to meet the pink. If it's messy it doesn't matter because I haven't done my base, I haven't done my concealer, so I can always neaten that up with concealer. That wing is probably a bit high, but like I say, can neaten it up with concealer. Check it's even on both sides, or as even as I can make it. Alright, I'm going to leave that there for now. I am going to finish off the eyes in a bit, but I'm going to move on to base now, and I'm going to take my Revolution Conceal and Define foundation in the shade 3.5. It's a really big doe foot applicator. I have not used this foundation for a while, so we'll see how this goes, but it is a full coverage foundation, and that was the look in the 80s. It was a thick, full coverage, and the foundation would sometimes be a couple shades lighter than your skin tone. I'm not going to do that. My foundations are matched to my skin tone, so I won't lighten mine. Going in with a full coverage concealer as well, just using my Tarte Shape Tape. A lot of powder was used in the 80s as well, whereas with the 70s, when it was about your skin looking sort of natural and radiant, quite glowy, the 80s powder kind of came back in. So I am going to powder all over my face to get that look. I'm using the Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder. Alright, powder done. I'm just going to finish off the eyes. So I put in the bluey green and the purple under the lower lash line and trying to kind of wing it out a bit. And then I'm just going to put a bit more pink up here in the crease just to intensify that a little bit more, and then try to meet it with that wing a little bit. Alright, that's the eyes kind of done for now, I think. In terms of eyeshadow, I might come back to it, we'll see. But I'm just going to draw a thin black line over my upper lash line. I don't want to draw it too thick because I don't want to take away any of this colour, but I want a little bit of something to define it. So I'm going to try and keep it as close to that lash line as I possibly can. Okay, just going to curl my lashes. Lash Surge Mascara by Collection. I'm going to put a couple of coats of this on, and then I'm going to do some false lashes. Lashes were a bit more dramatic in the 80s compared to the 70s. 70s was a bit more natural, and it was more of a case of just tailored to what the individual liked. Whereas with the 80s, lashes were a bit more dramatic. Possibly not as dramatic as the 60s, but more so than the 70s. Okay, so I've just done a couple coats of mascara, and I've put on some Ardell 120 Wispies lashes, and then I've put some eyeliner in my waterline. I used MAC Teddy. Moving on to brows next, I'm just going to use Gimme Brow in the shade 3. The trend was to have quite kind of bushy, thick, full brows It was then in the 90s and the noughties that the brows got drastically different and were quite kind of thin, very pencil-like. But I just want a bit of brow gel. You can use a clear brow gel, that was quite popular in the 80s. But I just want a little bit of pigment, especially kind of here and here by my nose. Okay, and blush. Now blush was a huge trend in the 80s. In the 50s and 60s it was barely there, 70s it was a bit more of like a bronzed healthy glow, but the 80s was when blush was hugely popular, and it was quite full, it was quite dramatic, like a proper stripe of bright pink across your cheeks, and it's very different to what we would wear nowadays for blusher. So in the 80s it's definitely a case of more is more when it comes to blusher. So I'm really going to try and build this up. I'm using my TaylorMade Monday pink one there. I don't really have hugely bright pink blushes, so I think I'm just going to try and build this one up and see how this one turns out. But yeah, this stripe across the cheekbone is where blusher was placed, because it kind of coincides with that wing of your eyeshadow. I couldn't find a mention of bronzer in the 80s, so I'm just going to play with blush for now and then see if the look needs any bronzer. It might not do, because then that's a lot of colour going on your cheeks. And blusher was used to add colour to the cheeks and also define, to really show off that cheekbone. Put some on my hair line, not on my hair, on my hairline. Nose, cheek, chin, that's not your cheek. I think we can go for more. Like I said, more is more. More blusher. These eyelashes feel weird. I'm not used to wearing false eyelashes, especially a full strip of false eyelashes. I can really feel it here. My half lashes that I used in my 50s video, and 60s I think, are kind of on their last legs. So I did actually buy a strip because I'd need it for this video and my 2010s, I think. What have I got left? I've got 90s, noughties and 10s. I've only got 3 left. Right, I think I'm going to leave that blusher as it is for now. I will see how it looks after I've done my lips, but I'm just going to leave it for now. I couldn't really find a mention of highlighter, but on some of the pictures that I've seen, there is a bit of highlighter on the cheekbone, so I am just going to apply it a little bit, and I'm going to use the highlighter that was in the same Laura Geller palette as my blusher. Put a bit on the cheeks, nothing too much. I don't want to detract too much from all that blush. And then under the brow bone and in the corners of my eye. Alright, lips. I think I'm going to go for something bright, like my Collection pink lip liner. Now, the trend in the 80s was to have quite bright lips. Red lipstick was quite popular as well, but red kind of suited the heavily eyelined eyes, whereas a vibrant pink like this should hopefully work with this type of bold eyeshadow. If it doesn't work, I'll go for something a bit more subtle. But the combination of a really bold eye and a bold lip was popular in the 80s. Yeah, I think that works. I need to neaten it up, but yes, this colour. 80s. It was also quite trendy to go for a metallic finish. This is a little bit metallic. It's not entirely matte, and it does have a bit of a pearlescent finish to it. It was also quite popular to go, I'm trying not to talk too much and do my lip liner because it messes up. It was also quite popular to go for a darker lip liner and then a lighter lipstick, and then that really transcended into the 1990s with that really dark brown lip liner and then like concealer coloured lips. Okay, more blusher? I think a bit more blusher. I'm going to use my Zoeva, what are you, Cream Cheek blusher. Give me a bit more exact with this one. This one really sort of hugs your cheekbone that bit better. My cat has turned up again, so you might hear him meowing. Although he doesn't really meow, he more squeaks. Like that. Okay, I think that's better with the blusher. I have just put a bit of this yellow shade in my inner corners here, and I think that's helped to just add another little bit more colour to my eyes. But I think I'm all done. I think that's all I want to do. Alright, so that's the final look done. I've put in some multicoloured tassels, and then the rest of my hair is up in a very 80s scrunchie. This is very reminiscent to me of I Want to Dance With Somebody by Whitney Houston, that music video. So what do you guys think? Do you think this looks 1980s-esque? I really like this. I thought this would be quite a difficult one to do like with the 60s, and I was kind of thinking, oh, this is going to be an easy one to mess up because it is just colour and you can easily make this look quite messy and just a mess. But I think this has turned out pretty well. The eyes were a lot easier than I thought they would be. The false eyelashes are still a little bit this one in particular, I'm not sure if I've used a little bit too much glue. But I really love that this is just a celebration of colour and it's clashing. I love that it's a bold eye along with a bold lip. It's not just one or the other. And also just loads of blusher as well. This is too much blusher than I would normally wear, and more than probably most people nowadays would wear. We are starting to get back into blusher again, aren't we, in this decade, but nowhere near to this extent. However, I do think that once, you know, lockdown has completely finished and once we start wearing our masks less and less, and maybe when we don't even need them anymore, I think there's going to be a real resurgence in makeup and in bright, bold, colourful makeup like this. I think bright, colourful lipsticks are going to get back in fashion, because with wearing a mask at the moment, nobody's really kind of wearing lipsticks, and we don't want to be wearing a lot of makeup under our masks because it, you know, I know that I break out when I wear makeup under my mask, but I think we're really going to start to see colourful looks once we are free again. But I really, really like this one. I think this one, along with the 70s, is my favourite. I wouldn't wear it out, it's a lot of makeup, mind, but I really like it. I think this has turned out quite well, and I really love the hair as well. I use my corkscrew chopstick curler. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed watching that video. Again, I really enjoyed filming this video. I'm really enjoying doing this Makeup Through the Decade series, and I've got 3 more left to go, 90s, noughties and 10s. So if you're interested in watching those, please stick around. Please click that subscribe button. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and I will see you again soon. Thank you guys. Bye.